Alright. Today, guys, we're going to be talking about the 5 reasons why you can't improve at StarCraft. People are always coming up to me and saying, oh, I want to get better. I'm hard stuck in Diamond 3. I'm trying to improve. Man, it's so hard. So today, I'm going to go over the 5 reasons that I see again and again of why people aren't able to improve. And I think at least one of these should help out just about anybody watching this video that actively plays the StarCraft ladder. The first reason why you're not getting better is that you do not have a build, or if you do, it is way too vague for your skill level. So for instance, if you're a brand new player and you're starting out, you might think, I don't know enough to have a build, but all you need is even just a very simple build, and it's going to allow you to not get distracted and focus on the fundamentals, rather than trying to constantly adapt and react on the fly. What's going to happen if you don't go into the game with a build, with a framework, a sort of plan to follow, then what's going to happen is your build's going to suck. It's not going to be efficient. You're always going to be supply blocked because you're trying to adapt and react to things, and then the basic things need to happen somewhat automatically. Having a build and a game plan allows you to at least have a solid basic setup, and from that you can learn reactions off of it. But if you go in there without the solid foundation, you're reacting from what is a really weird variable situation where you keep forgetting things, getting supply blocked, nothing lines up correctly. So having a build order, it gives you a solid basis. From there, you can actually make proper advanced reactions. And this is how the pros do it. This is how high-level players do it. Low-level players, mid-level players on ladder often make the mistake of thinking if they go into the game without a game plan, they're playing more like a pro. Absolutely not the case. So how do you come up with a build for yourself? Obviously, on the basic level, it can be really simple. You just started the game. I want to make mass Thors. I want to go for a big Thor attack. And you can layer on details of complexity rather than just having a composition by having an exact opening ironed out, the exact supply counts of like 16 hatch, 18 gas, 17 pool. You can take that all the way to 40 or 50 supply. Heaps of build orders out there on the internet you can look up. You can also define your attack timings. I'm going to attack. We're aiming for about 7 minutes, but obviously what's more important than a goal is to improve on your last game. I'm going to hit with Marine Tank Medevac off 2 bases, 45 workers, 5 barracks, we're going to have stim, combat shields, and some medevacs, marines, and tanks. Suddenly, you've got a really detailed game plan there. That's something you can use pretty much in all matchups all the way through to Masters League and beyond potentially. I guarantee you, I could pull it off in GM right now. That sort of game plan gives me a really good guiding focus. So this is going to just make you improve so much faster. You can also start to memorize your scouting timings, when to harass the opponent, and all sorts of other detailed notes for each matchup that kind of adds on context and information the more and more expert you become in each matchup. All right, this next one grinds my gears, and it is, of course, exactly what I know so many people watching this video are guilty of, and that is not watching your replays. That's right, I know this one intuitively on a deep level. Do you know why I know this? Because people always ask me, oh, Pig, man, I had this question literally yesterday before recording this video. Someone in my chat said, man, how do I stop in Zerg vs Protoss? I just die. They just hit me with 20 zealots. They had mass sentry and immortal at 6 minutes. Like, how are you supposed to beat that? And I was like, that's not physically possible. Someone cannot have 20 zealots, mass immortals, and sentries at your base at 5 or 6 minutes in the game. Not possible. You are making things up. And yet I get questions like this all the time, where what people will ask is they'll ask the feeling of what happened in the game. They'll go, man, this guy's had mass battle cruisers 6 minutes in the game. And then you look at the replay and it's like, no, 1 battle cruiser hit you at 6 minutes. 20 minutes later, he had mass battle cruiser. Those are 2 very separate problems. Let's not make things up. And the reason why players make this up is it's not because they're imagining and they're trying to, blow their problems out of proportion. It's because they're never correcting their false interpretations of what's happening in the game. The reason we watch replays is so that you can take your perception of what's happening with limited information in real time and then contrast that with what actually was going on. And then you go, oh, I thought I was in this situation, but I was in that situation. And that's how you improve your knowledge and you become a better player. It's like, to me, it's crazy because it's like you're playing chess, but you can only see half the board. And then so many players, they lose and they go, well, some stuff just came out of the other half of the board. And I guess those white pieces are stronger than my black pieces. And you're just like, wait. But you can just open the replay, you can hit rewind and you can check where their pieces were and actually get context on what happened. And people are like, nah, I can't be bothered. I'm just gonna rage quit the game and click Q again without learning anything from that loss. A great habit here is to play the rewind game. This is what I advocate for everyone to do as a habit. when you lose or win a game, always hit rewind, but don't check anything in the replay. Just quiz yourself. Be like, man, okay, so I almost died to this huge roach attack from a Zerg player. It felt really scary. I was on 3 bases. I think he was on 4 bases. How many workers do I think he had? Like I think he had 1-1 upgrades. I think he probably went double upgrades. And I think he had 66 drones. And then you check that in the replay and you realize, oh, he was only on 50 drones. And he had no upgrades. This was actually way more all in than I realized. And suddenly, there's your perception of what happened in real time. There's what actually happened. And you bring those closer together. So the rewind game is something you should all be playing every single time you lose a game. It is such a good practice because it takes you 30 seconds at the end of each game, and it actually makes you understand what the hell's going on. The next one is trying to do too much stuff at once. This is something that a lot of players are guilty of. They're trying, there's an elite game, there's lots going on in StarCraft, and similar to those players who don't focus on a build order, this can often happen where there's players who are aware of things to improve on, but they're trying to improve too many at the same time. I've seen these players look through a replay, go, I gotta do this better, this better, this better, this better, this better, this better. Or you ask what they're working on and they're like, this, and they list so many different things. But realistically, it's like, guys, we're human. You can only focus on so many things at once. Just remember, you actually can't do as much as you think, and if you slow down and let yourself focus on one thing at a time, you'll improve way quicker. It feels slow when you're doing it, but you see actually very rapid progress. A lot of people feel that if they feel like I'm doing everything at once and I feel like it's really fast and hard, that they're going to learn faster. But what happens is they're not actually letting their brain absorb anything, and they're just fumbling lots of things at once rather than improving on one thing at a time, actually letting that settle into muscle memory, become something that they know on a deep level, and then taking it to the next level. So you want to focus on something basic. Hey, I want to shave 15 seconds off my marine tank push. And so I'm just going to really focus on my build order and getting it tight, make sure I don't get supply blocked. That's a good focus. You could have that focus for a week straight, playing 10, 15 games a day, even if you're playing a ton of StarCraft, and you're still going to improve a lot with that. As opposed to the player who's also trying to focus on improving their scouting, and they're trying a completely new build order, swapping from bio to mech. It becomes too much, and it all just gets lost in too many different things at once. So give yourself 1, at most 2 focuses at a time. If you're more advanced as a player, maybe 2 or 3 focuses in each matchup, because you've got different builds for each one. But even then, that's a lot to focus on, and you're probably going to need to either write notes or review those before a ladder session, or you're just going to forget what you're focusing on, get jumbled up. So this next one is actually really quite big. It's playing too fast or too slow. So the saying I always repeat over the last few years is organized urgency. And whichever one of those words you need to focus on as a player, it kind of depends on which category you fall into. So if you are a player who's playing at too slow a pace, definitely common with older gamers. The young kids do tend to play very fast these days. But if you're just playing at this kind of slow pace, you do need to build that urgency and train yourself to click faster, to box faster, to do things quicker. A few exercises you can do is like train yourself just at the start of the game when not much is going on to spam boxes on those workers and try to get it just around the workers on the minerals without selecting too much more. So you're practicing how accurately and quickly can I select these workers. Practice doubling your workers up on minerals at the start of the game. Hop between your bases. Don't just keep your camera still in one spot. Cycle through your hotkeys. If you've got your overlord and your scouting drone on 2 hotkeys and your main base on a hotkey, keep double tapping those to cycle between those and jump your camera around so you're actually monitoring things. This feels stressful and difficult, but the idea is to make this muscle memory, to make it something that you just kind of do without having to think about it. Remember that by just kind of relaxing and repeating these tasks, it's like playing the piano. An expert pianist does not have to sit there and consciously think about the mechanics of moving each finger up and down. So it's all about just getting that practice in and make those habits natural. You also want to make sure you memorize sequences of actions, right? I see a lot of people fumbling with like building structures, and it takes them forever just to like build an evolution chamber, build another evolution chamber. Focus on doing those things faster. Part of urgency is you should see, hey, if I'm taking 5 seconds just to put down a few engineering bays, you know what? Maybe you're doing it in a bad way. Build a system and make sure you memorize the exact set points. Box the workers. Build building, click, build building, click, shift click back on the minerals. And practice that sequence until it's muscle memory. So you get these little sequences of how to quickly change your rally points or drop structures or do this or that to build the reactors quickly. Build those as little set play sequences that built into your play are going to slowly ease over all those problem points. Any point where you stumble over a basic repeatable action, that's a good reason for you to go, okay, cool, what's my system for doing that next time? Practice it 5 times in a row just in your custom game, and then bam, you're gonna get so much faster as a player. Also, don't be afraid to spam clicks. I know spamming is kind of scary. Oh, it's pointless. The whole point is that it shouldn't be hard for you to click the mouse. When you're microing, your fingers should just be doing this the whole time. Because your mouse that way, wherever your mouse cursor moves on the screen, your units will follow it. So it's not something where you have to go and have to think about each click. This is what I see with players who play StarCraft very slowly. They're having to think about each click. It's like they're having to fire a neuron. That should not take your brain a second of lag. It should just be natural. Get that clickety finger trained up. Get it trained up, gang. Now, on the other hand, and this is probably way more common in the StarCraft community, if you're playing too fast, you gotta focus on that organized side of organized urgency. I have coached so many players in Diamond League especially. This is very rife in Diamond League, players with 200 to 400 APM, massive amounts of speed. They're darting around, and I'm like, well, okay, mouse speed, cycling your hotkeys, none of this is an issue. But then I look at what they're actually doing with that action, those actions, that speed, and I'm like, oh God, they're getting nothing done. They're just mindlessly going through meaningless cycles with no direction, no organization. For them, it feels like when I'm watching these players, the speed, the feeling of playing fast has taken priority over actually knowing what they're doing with those actions and having organized plans and set plays within those actions. So once again, take a deep breath here. If you're stuck in this cycle, focus on the systems in place. Make sure you have systems for getting your jobs done. One of the most important ones that I see a lot of 300 APM permanently stuck in Diamond 2 players stuck with is they don't have any macro cycle. So a macro cycle, most important for Zerg, good for Terran and Protoss as well though. It's basically very important because it's something that allows you to get your repetitive tasks done that keeps your economic engine rolling without you having to think about it, and you do them all at once in a big batch. So that, similar to, batch cooking or anything else, you do it all together so it's more efficient rather than constantly having to come back and repeat each action. Example, as a Zerg, every 30 seconds, you inject all of your hatcheries, you then build some overlords, and spend the rest of your lava on either drones or army units. This only takes a couple seconds at most. Do everything else, come back 30 seconds later, and you repeat it again. And with practice, doing it in the exact same order every single time, it becomes muscle memory. You don't have to think about it. And during those few seconds that you're doing it, you're actually staring down at your minimap and you're thinking about the next steps in your build, and you're really taking stock of where the game's at. And this is the power of having these fundamental habits. That stuff which before you were darting between your bases, inject a hatchery, build an overlord, build a drone, build an evo chamber, that other queen, she hasn't injected, I'll inject with her, I'm supply blocked still. Did I build an overlord? I can't remember. I'll build another overlord. There's another queen. You can see how this gets trapped into this like mindless kind of scatterbrained hopping around, and it becomes really painful to watch a player like that use so much speed to so little effectiveness. If you're Terran or Protoss, your macro cycle is going to be similar. Every 25 seconds, you build 2 workers per Nexus or Command Center, drop your mules, chrono boost as well potentially, and then you build your units and you build your pylons or your depots as well. So very similar order depending on that. Just as long as you repeat it in the same order and it becomes this muscle memory thing, this habit that you go back to, you're not always going to be doing it every 25 seconds or 30 seconds on the dot. There's a lot of things going on in the StarCraft game, but there should be some sort of deep urge in you that's like, hey, I haven't done that in a while. Bam, go home, hit another one of those macro cycles, and it's just going to keep your engine flowing, and it adds this base layer of organization which really allows you to excel. All right, the last one, the last reason why you're not improving as a StarCraft player, but by no means the least, this is no focused effort. Basically, what do I mean, guys? Well, it takes effort. It takes focused effort. What did I just outline in the previous 4 messages? They all hit on the same trend, and you need to put effort in to improve at the game. Whether that's looking at your replays, having a build order, organizing your actions a little bit more, trying to play faster, or slowing down and adding organization, it's going to take effort. If you are only playing StarCraft once a week, Friday evening, you have a beer in hand after a long week, the kids are finally in bed, you've got 2 hours, you're throwing out some silly cheeses that you've never done before, you know what? You may have given up your right to complain about being hard stuck in Gold League. You play an hour and a half, 2 hours a week with a beer in your hand. Come on. It's totally fine. You are not hard stuck, you are having fun in Gold League. So you aren't improving because you're not trying to improve. And that's totally fine. You're having fun playing StarCraft. You're kicking people's ass. You may be ruining some people with your cannon rushes or your stupid baneling busts and making them frustrated, and they might call you names, but it's all part of the joy of the process. So you know what? There's nothing wrong with just playing to enjoy the game. You don't have to improve at StarCraft, but if you do want to improve, just remember, think about it in terms of how much focused effort am I actually willing to put into improving all these other factors. Maybe it's just one of those things. Maybe you're just improving a real slow, steady pace. It's just, oh, you know what? I'm just going to try and get that macro cycle down little bit by little bit. Or, you know what? I'm just going to try and play that rewind game. Everything else, I'm still playing with the beer in hand, having fun, but I'm going to play Pig's rewind game to improve my game sense. You guys do something like this, you're already going to put yourself on that journey to improvement, but it's all about how much effort you put in as how many gains you get out. All right, guys, well, that's all 5 reasons of why you're not improving on the StarCraft ladder. Let me know which ones I forgot or which ones hit home for you especially. And yeah, who knows? If there's enough things I missed, we might do another video on this. Don't forget, if you guys are looking for other educational content on how to improve, how to learn, or how to enjoy StarCraft, check out one of these other videos that we've got around the screen. I don't know, over there or something like that. Don't forget to check out Patreon down below. There's a link in the description if you want to go above and beyond to support. I really appreciate that. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good night. We'll catch you later. Goodbye and good night.